Hi, I'm CJ Miller on location at the AgriNovus Indiana Quadrant event, and I'm with Drew Gerritsen. Not only is he the Vice President of Member Engagement with Keystone Cooperative, but he's also a board member with the Pantheon in Knox County, the Vincennes area. That's west central, or I should say southwestern Indiana for the most part. We're talking about growing the ag and food industry and that sector in your neck of the woods, Knox County, Vincennes area. And tell me about some of the efforts that the Pantheon is doing to kind of attract more of those businesses, attract more of that talent to the Vincennes area.
Yeah, thanks, CJ. I appreciate that. I think really the thing I think about is how do we connect farmers that have challenges in their operation to creative innovators, entrepreneurs, and guys that can guys that can solve problems. And I think that's the Pantheon creates space for us to do those types of things. So we have a strength in fruit and vegetable production, along with row crop production and implementation of sustainability practices in that corner of the state. And we have a space that allows us to convene those things together. So lean into our strength by bringing those farmers together with the innovators there at the Pantheon.
I think the one thing that's very unique to Knox County and that area of the state is that watermelon production, absolutely huge. Pumpkin production, melon production is one of the key ag factors that you find in Knox County and even to the north in the Terre Haute area. And that's certainly a draw for a lot of ag business and food businesses as well.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, we play a true leadership role in a lot of agricultural stats, including fruit and vegetable production, and that's actually the spot that we've really leaned into the most so far in this thing, CJ, is what are some of the challenges around labor or logistics or processing that we can help solve for our farmers, so they can remain vibrant and relevant and a part of our community, because that's a really important part of the economics of our community.
Chatting with Drew Gerritsen with the Pantheon, a board member here on Hoosier Ag today. And we talked a little bit earlier as part of the panel discussion here at AgriNovus Indiana, the Quadrant event, about finding that talent, that next generation of talent that's going to be working in our food and ag sector. I know that Purdue University, one of the leading universities in all of the world for agriculture, but you also have Vincennes University, which here recently, not too long ago, has put together some new facilities, a new building. They're trying to grow their ag program. So that's got to be encouraging to you and your team in Knox County as well, the efforts that Vincennes University is taking on in this space.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, whether it's the Keystone Cooperative access to talent through Vincennes University and the programming that they've put together there, or it's connecting with the entrepreneurship and business teams and ag teams at Vincennes University. It's a great asset for our community, and we do a lot of collaboration with that university, along with Purdue University, and then Purdue has a research farm in our county too, and we're able to collaborate with them as well.
When I think about all across Indiana and the different regions that, for example, I just spoke with Stefan Frigia in northeastern Indiana, Fort Wayne area. He's trying to attract ag businesses to Allen County and the surrounding counties. And I would think it'd be an easy sell for you and your team with the Pantheon to attract a number of food and ag businesses to the Knox County area as well.
Sure, yeah. We talk about local economic development as truly being a team sport. The Pantheon exists to help the mission around entrepreneurship. So how do we actually create those ideas and incubate those ideas right here that help our local community, and specifically in this case we're talking about our ag community, and at the same time we have this talent attraction and business attraction project and processes within our county that allow us to do both at the same time, and that's a really unique and important part of what we do.
Drew, what more can be done by the Pantheon, and not to put you on the spot, but what more can be done by you and other members of the board of the Pantheon and the Pantheon as a whole to drive more of that growth in the ag and food sector in the Vigo County area, and not just Vigo County, but also Knox County as well.
Yeah. I think the thing of it is that we got a story to tell, and we got to continue to tell that story. So thank you for the opportunity to do that. But I think as members of the board, I mean, we're all volunteers, and we need to use our networks to continue to amplify and tell the story. Sometimes we say this is the best kept secret in Southwest Indiana because we have an incredible and beautiful space that allows us to convene these things together, but we truly can connect people that understand how to solve these problems, that have entrepreneurial mindset to the problems. And I think bring us the problems, bring us those challenges, and let's see if we can figure out how to solve them.
I would also imagine, Drew, that growing the export markets for the products that are grown and raised and produced in Knox County and the surrounding areas is another key factor for the Pantheon as well.
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, obviously, we not only the fruit and vegetable production, but we're a leader in grain production as well. And we got, only have about 50 to 60 miles to the Ohio River to be able to make that export, which a lot of our farmers actually do. It's an important part of the ecosystem for sure.
Drew, if folks are interested in getting hold of you and your team, and let's say they're interested in getting a hold of the Pantheon with questions, or perhaps they're a startup, or they're interested in moving a business to Knox County and the surrounding area, how's the best way to get a hold of the folks with the Pantheon?
Yeah, pantheontheater.org is the best place to get a hold of us there. And then all the social media channels we're on as well, and that's a great place to connect with us is to figure out what's going on at the Pantheon.
Once again, Drew Gerritsen, board member with the Pantheon, Knox County, Indiana. And Drew, thank you so much for joining us on Hoosier Ag Today.
Appreciate it.
Hi, I'm CJ Miller with Hoosier Ag Today on location as part of the AgriNovus Indiana Quadrant event. And I'm with a very special guest, Stefan Fragia. He is the CEO of the Northeast Indiana Regional Partnership, or NEI for short. And we're talking about growing the food and ag industry in northeastern Indiana. Stefan, you and your team serve the Adams and Allen County areas, in total about 11 counties. Right. And when I think about the food and ag sector around Fort Wayne and northeastern Indiana, it's easy to think about Maple Leaf Farms, Red Gold, so many other great businesses, Seckler Pickles in St. Joe, Indiana, in DeKalb County. Tell me about what makes northeastern Indiana so attractive for ag and food businesses.
I mean, the environment for the ag economy is very strong. Ultimately, it's a long heritage of agriculture and farming throughout the entire northern part of the state. But I think a lot of the conversation we're talking, those firms, those are actually in food production. There's not just commodities. And stepping back about kind of the core attributes of the region and the state, we make things. So for us, making food or higher value product is just another version of how we manufacture and how we make things, and ultimately for consumption, for other applications. And we're blessed. We have a lot of great leadership and a lot of great companies that are growing. They're investing capital, they're hiring people, all different skill set. But the reason why I'm here is because there's even bigger opportunities laid ahead of us. Thanks to the work that AgriNovus is doing and our work together with them on figuring out what is this food is health and what is the opportunity for our 11 county region, for our employers, for our company, for our producers, for our farmers, how they can ultimately participate into this higher level of economic activities in the innovation position as a user of innovations, but also as creating more new products, into this higher value. Because at the end of the day, it's about jobs, it's about, revenue, it's about profit, it's about community, because all those things combined, ultimately allow us to grow the economy, make us community stronger, more vibrant, improves the quality of life. That is ultimately the why we're doing this. So for us, ag, beyond just, again, the historical attributes, it's a key employer in a key industry that is just as big as automotive in our across the state. It's huge, and it's diversified, and it's global. So the opportunity for us to continue to grow are really immense. So I applaud the work that AgriNovus and leadership are doing, Now with them, we're trying to figure out what is the special quote-unquote sauce that Northeast Indiana could basically focus on. Because earlier in my panel, I mentioned that we got 15 different regions. We're all a little bit different. We all have different assets and specialties. So what can Northeast Indiana do to advance the state economy in the ag and bioscience kind of world, in the food health? So we're actually working with them on a project, a mapping study, figure out what are the key assets that can be leveraged, what's missing, if any, and then in the next step, in the next few months, figure out what is our true value proposition to entrepreneurs, to company, to larger, companies around the world, basically inviting them to basically enjoy, come in and be part of the local ecosystem, from a product, but also become a local employer. But it's a competitive space out there, right? So we have to be very specific about what we offer that is different than another region or another state. What is special? How we want to organize our resources, and how we're going to create value for those potential employers and potential company that we want to either stand up or bring in. So this, next few months, we'll really kind of sharpen, our messaging, sharpen our value proposition. And so when we go in the second half of the year, we're going to be a lot more direct, a lot more specific, about here's why you should care about Indiana, and here's why you should care about Northeast Indiana, because X, Y, and Z, opportunities, and put it out, and do a little bit of that legwork in the front end. But ultimately, we believe that's going to allow us to, win at a faster rate, and to really strengthen the economy, and especially the rural counties that are really ag-centric, and they're really culturally very important to those counties.
Stefan, you mentioned that project that, and I'll have you step here a little bit this way. Stefan, you mentioned some of those projects, a project that you and AgriNovus Indiana are working on to find those challenges and address the needs of the area. And what are your thoughts in terms of the needs and challenges facing the food and ag industry in northeastern Indiana?
We need new markets. We either create new markets, access new markets, or invent new markets. Ultimately, we can grow a lot of different crops across our region, across the state, but it's a global economy, especially in the ag and food world. So how do we open new opportunities globally, but also create completely new market sectors and specialties that ultimately will sell at a higher premium than just basically a straight commodity as has been done in the past. So we're trying to push the envelope about what is possible in across, whether it's peptides, whether it's chemicals, whether it is genes, all across, how do we, increase yields, productivity, and ultimately more money into farming communities, because now we're selling for a higher value. It's a specialty. The opportunity is huge. Again, it's a global market, but for us, to be a big player into the local market, we're gonna come prepared. And so that's the effort on hand right now, is to how do we make every single community in every single region across the state the best prepared to compete on the global market.
And Stefan, it seems that the Fort Wayne area would be a rather easy sell to those companies because, for example, Walmart not too long ago built a dairy processing facility. You have major ice cream manufacturers who are upgrading and spending a great deal of investment capital in growing their production facilities. So it seems to me that when it comes to that sell of attracting and growing business, especially ag and the ag and food industry, Stefan, that northeastern Indiana and the Fort Wayne area specifically would be a relatively easy sell.
Yeah, it is, because at the end of the day, we're still talking about people, right? People like to be entertained. We like to enjoy life. It's just all about works and profit. So the benefit of actually and the strength of our region is that we have a very strong central pole within the city of Fort Wayne and the Allen County in general, and is amenity rich. So it actually supports the entire region. So when we talk to new companies, it's like, okay, how you get there? Well, we have a growing airport. It has been renovated. We have major employers already. There is fortune companies. There are global companies that are actually running out of our region. So we can demonstrate, practically how it's been done. We have the amenities that over the years have been continued to expand, cultural, music, and so forth. And so we have a full package so that when we talk to companies, yes, here's the business argument, and here's the state global position on business and innovation, here's what we think you could be doing here, and here everything else that community has to offer to round out the package in terms of quality of life, education, universities, philanthropic communities, parks and recs, you name it. People need those things. They crave those things. So our community needs to offer everything to be competitive. But again, we start with a business hook and a business opportunity, and then we showcase the entire ecosystem and everything that community has to offer. So then yes, then at that point, we know that once we're in the conversation, chances are people will take us seriously. There's always a reason to say no, or other opportunities. But for us, it's important to get in the conversation, get a fair shake, and then we'll see how things turn out.
Stefan, if folks are interested in getting a hold of you and your team, how's the best way to do so?
You can visit our website, neindiana.com, that's indiana.com. Our contact information is right there. Or you can call the main line as well and just talk to Stefan or any of our BD team, and they'll be happy to kind of jump in and support.
Once again, Stefan Frigia, the CEO of Northeast Indiana Regional Partnership, NEI, and that website, once again, nei.com.
Correct.
All right. Thank you so much, Stefan, for joining us here today on Hoosier Ag Today, and best of luck to you and your team.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for joining us here on Hoosier Ag Today.